Great. So, between the time that I made that intro to now, it's been like a week. And, well, for one, I can't remember what I said in it. Which, I mean, like, could have happened within 5 minutes of making the video. But also, like, part of the reason why it took me so long to sit down here and do these readings is because I don't know if it's like the Taurus sun in me, if it's my Virgo moon, blah, 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 I don't know. But it's like, I felt like I wanted to have something more prepared, and I get stuck and hung up on these, like, wanting something to be perfect, which it never is. And it's just almost like an excuse, right? So I don't know. Why am I talking about this? I don't know. Maybe you needed to hear it too, that if you are delaying doing something, other light. If you're delaying doing something, if you're waiting for the perfect time for something, there's no such thing. There just isn't. And, like, we start kind of like amping up on the anxiety around it too, right? Because then I started feeling anxious, like, oh my gosh, like looking at the date, oh my gosh, like when was the last time I put out videos, blah, 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 and then for me, I just kind of shut down, which isn't good. That's not helpful for anybody. It doesn't make the anxiety go away. And that anxiety comes from knowing that I wanted to sit down here and I wanted to put out a message to you guys. I wanted to, get some readings out there again. And the fact that I wasn't doing it was what was causing the anxiety. And the reason why I wasn't doing it is because I wanted to have something else that either added value to the reading or whatever, which is really kind of interesting because Venus just went retrograde right on Sunday. And that's the second house for me, which is about worthiness, value, right? And here I am going on and on about wanting something, whatever it is, to be perfect. And also the main message behind that being showing up exactly where you are and with exactly whatever tools that you have right now to do the thing. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this into the intro video. So you won't even see the one that I was talking about that I just did a week ago because that has nothing now. I realized that last month I didn't get around to doing human design profile readings, and I do want to do those still. I'm like teetering between, wanting to make those the priority and the zodiac signs secondary, or, kind of keep, because there's tons of videos from YouTube creators about zodiac signs. I haven't seen a single one about human design profiles or really anything else. And I think it's cool because it's just a different avenue to receive a message, like any zodiac sign could be a 1-3 profile or a 2-5 profile or whatever, right? So I think I just answered my own question, and I think I'm going to, for the time being, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. And if I get around to doing zodiac readings in a month, then great. If not, it is what it is for the time being. I'm a manifesting generator, 5-1, emotional authority, and true to manifesting generator form. I have a million things going on, which is kind of why, like, my time is all of a sudden limited, and I am struggling to get all 24 videos out in a month. So that's okay because, it's energy, right? And for right now, for whatever reason, I have a limited availability of time, but also energy. I'm sacral, but that doesn't mean that I just, I I have endless amount of energy. So, we still need to be taking care of our sacral and giving it rest. But like I said, I have a ton of stuff going on. And at some point, the energy is going to shift. And at some point, I will be able to put 24 videos out again. And, it really goes into trust. That's a big thing with human design, too. The major thing is deconditioning the ways that we were structured to live our lives. And most of that is not listening to our own inner wisdom and guidance. And, that's where the strategy and authority comes from. So without any further delay, because I could keep going on, and I probably will in the videos. But again, I'm going to lead with the human design profile readings. I am not going to worry about, I like to have some sort of content that goes over each profile, just to give you, like a different perspective from somebody else and their understanding of what the profile says. I have some stuff buried in my phone, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go search for it this time. So going forward, I'll the next time we do these readings, I'll have some sort of content. But for now, we're just going to treat it in some kind of way. Okay, hi. So I don't think I actually introduced myself at the beginning of that intro, if that's what we're calling it an intro. It wasn't going to be, clearly, if you watched it, but then it turned into one. So anyway, my name is Liz. This is Heretic Owl Tarot. Thank you so much for being here or coming back. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so, I would love that. So we're talking about the 2-4 human design profile. If you don't know what your profile is, there is a link in the description below for you to get your human design body graph. Of course, these messages are for everybody. So if you're not a 2-4 and you're here anyway, great. Good for you. If there was something that kind of called you to be here, good. So that second line is the Hermit line. The fourth line is the Opportunist line. The Hermit line, it's interesting because there's this push and pull between those two lines, because the Hermit line wants to be left alone. They love their alone time. You need it to regenerate, recuperate. Also, even, dig into the things that you enjoy doing, working on a craft, researching, whatever it is, even just diving into a hobby, whatever, right? I also feel like hermits need to, if you have a second line in your profile, your space needs to be very comfortable. And it's going to be your own style, but it's really important to you that your space is comfy, kind of like a hermit cave, right? Because when you do go into hermit mode, you want your space to be comfortable. You want to receive energy from your space. You want it to be inspiring and a place where you can create, right? And if it's not set up the right way, it's not going to work. Okay. So there's also, with the second line, there's this natural talent or aptitude that comes with it. I think some people call the second line the natural genius, or something along those lines. So there is something that comes naturally to you. And the other thing with the second line is that it's really hard for you to see it within yourself, because you're this just comes so naturally to me. It's got to be the same way for other people. It's not. So if you're out there telling people it's easy, just do this, and they're just looking at you it's not that easy. That's why. But also there is this projection that comes with the second line, because people do recognize that natural gift, that natural talent, that aptitude that you have. And they might like call you out on it, like, oh my gosh, you're really good at that. I could see you being really good at this. Or, maybe you could get into this field or try this, or, whatever the case may be. That can be uncomfortable because, especially if you are kind of untrusting of people, or if maybe, like the projections have led you astray in some capacity, right? But again, right, I mean, like you do with the second line, it is natural for other people to recognize something within you. And it's really there to like help you recognize it too, but also even to like keep an interest enough in order to like really maximize the thing. And then that fourth line is the opportunist line. And that's all about community, friendships, networking, having like a group of like acquaintances. You don't necessarily have to have like a bunch of close friends. You can, but it's more so about having that network to discover opportunities, hence the opportunist name of the fourth line. So you might find it easy to quote unquote easy, right? But like to meet people, to connect with people. And again, those people could potentially recognize something within you that, is a talent or natural ability. Also with the fourth line, some of your greatest opportunities are going to be found within your network. So if you find yourself struggling to, find a job, meet somebody, find an air fryer, whatever, like put the word out in your network. And, like you might just mention to somebody, I'm looking for a job and I'm just kind of having a hard time nailing something down. And that person could mention it to a friend, or maybe they hear through word of mouth that a company is hiring and it comes back to you, right? Or even as far as like meeting people, like maybe you go to a barbecue you're invited to, you come out of your hermit cave a little bit and you make connections with people. And even like Facebook Marketplace, right? Like, or, joining your local Facebook group for buying, selling, trading, like that type of thing. Of course, that's not to say that every single one of the opportunities you ever get are going to be through the people that you know. But my point is that, if you are struggling to find that right opportunity, then, look within the network there. Let's see, is there anything else? I think the last thing that I want to say about that is just balancing the two. So honoring your need to be alone, but also honoring that fourth line and, coming out of your hermit cave a little bit to make those connections, meet people, and then once you're kind of at your fill for peopling, go back into your space. And also like honor that desire for your space to be how you want it to be, whether it's, your bedroom, your office, your living room, whatever space is yours, right? That you can manipulate and get to be just perfect for you. Also allowing it to change. Like there's no reason for it to look one way forever. If you're inspired by boho for a year, great. And then, in another couple years, if you are inspired by, maximalism, great. And then maybe a couple years later, you're like, this is too much. I want to go with minimalism, right? Like, so just kind of allow that to flow too. Wise leader, you are a beacon for others. I love that. Especially like, we were talking about coming out of the hermit cave, other people, kind of having acquaintances. I love that. You are a beacon for others. And I love that they're holding up this torch here too. But still looking forward. So it's kind of like, this has this feeling of, if you If you want to come with me, great. But also, I'm moving forward. So I don't really have time to look back and see who or if anybody is back there, right? Like I'm going to keep moving it forward. Let's get the tarot out. It could even be, paving the way. If there's something that is just not out in the world yet, but it's an idea that you have that you want to try, do it. Try it. And also just recognize that the end result is probably not going to be, it's not going to look like the original idea. Because I think too, like I was kind of even talking about at the beginning, right? Like, or in that intro, we kind of get hung up on if it's not perfect, which is the devil card. If it's not perfect, then I don't want to do it. Or if it's not going to look this way, I'm not going to do it. No. By doing it, by trying things, we learn what works, we learn what doesn't, we adapt, we modify. Love that. 3 of Pentacles, working with other people, learning. The Sun, absolutely. Okay, cards just kind of went flying. We have the Knight of Pentacles. The Empress. Okay. We're not taking all of these cards because this card came out first. We only needed 1 card, so that's all we're going to take. We have the Death card. We have the Page of Wands at the bottom of the deck, the Queen of Wands, 9 of Cups, the Star, the Moon. Wow. Very interesting. We have a lot of Earth out here. There's 4 major arcana, which are, kind of bigger energies. So let's just start, working through it. It's interesting that we start with the Devil card and we end with the Death card. It just, it does feel like to me that there is something that is, keeping control of you or manipulating you in some aspect that is coming to an end. It's like you're working your way through it or even recognizing it in the first place. Because, the Devil card, this is a card of Capricorn, so that's, it's Earth. But it talks about illusions, it talks about obsession. Like I said, manipulation. It can also be addictions. And, addictions can be anywhere from a substance to distraction and numbing to keeping yourself small, shrinking, staying on the sidelines. But it's also almost kind of like the opposite. Like if you are, constantly putting yourself at risk, like that kind of addiction to adrenaline type of thing. And if there's not necessarily anything wrong with that unless it's coming from a wound, right? Like unless you are trying to prove yourself to who? I don't, who? Like, is it something, again, like was it a wound from your childhood type of thing? But it creates this thing in you to where, you don't give yourself a break, or the risks that you take them, like I said, in order to prove your worth to somebody, to that type of vibe, right? Because we have this, devil looking figure back here. This is a Devil card. And we have this figure, it almost looks like an Eve type of thing. She's holding an apple. I was about to say, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a snake somewhere, but I don't see a snake. But, it's kind of like being trapped in something, and that something being an illusion or It might just not be something that you recognize right off the bat. And it's paired with a Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight in the whole deck. Pentacles have to do with our money, how we get it, how we spend it, how we save it. It's our physical time. Like, what are we spending our physical time doing? It's our physical body and our health. It's also like recognizing that manifesting something into the 3D, like bringing it into real life, it does take time. It takes commitment. It takes dedication. And that's the Knight of Pentacles. They might be moving slow, but they're, for one, moving forward. For two, they're making progress. And for three, they're not moving so fast that they're going to miss something or skip a few steps. And this to me just kind of has this feeling of like stopping and smelling the roses. Like, they're really kind of taking it all in. So again, like with it paired with the Devil card. And I think I was even kind of saying at the beginning in some capacity, like, if there is something that you do want to try and get started or put out there in some capacity, but it's like you feel like you don't have all of the elements, or there's something that's just not quite right in order for you to put it out there, like, do it anyway. Start from where you are and start with what you have and build from there, because you may be surprised. You may recognize that you actually have everything that you need to get started or to do the thing, or whatever the case may be. But also by putting it out there, what you think you need and the reason why, like that excuse as to why you're not doing it right now, it could turn into a completely different thing. You could be like, oh I needed this, but it's not that, it's this, right? But you figure it out. And that's like, I'm kind of getting that with the Knight of Pentacles, but also they do require a dedication and commitment to seeing something through. And again, right, I mean, this could even be, like I was kind of saying at the beginning, like there could be some realization that you're having that maybe you've even been working on for some time. Like maybe, like you knew at some point, like, I just feel like held back by something, or I feel like there's something that's not allowing me to be in my full potential here with this, wise leader thing, right? So it could be something that you have been working on or going through for some period of time. Because whenever the Knight of Pentacles shows up, it's either something is going to take longer than we think it's going to, or you've already been on this journey for a period of time and you're like, WTF, like when is this actually going to show some like result and, give me something back in return? We have the Three of Pentacles, which is collaboration. It's working with other people. Again, Pentacles, right? So it could be a job. It could be an internship. It could be, something along those lines. It's a 3, so it's closer to the beginning of the path through the Pentacles than the end. So this is where there's planning involved. It could be, again, like even a group project, but it doesn't necessarily have to involve 3 other people, but there are other people involved in some capacity. It's also recognizing that like everybody has their job. Like these 2 people aren't doing the same thing. This guy is doing something, she's doing something else, but they're working towards a common goal. So, it could be a mentor. Again, with that 4th line, it could just be meeting somebody who can just kind of help you get through that. It could be a therapist. It could be a mentor. It could be a teacher. It could be a tutor, whatever, for your situation. You could be the mentor. You could be the tutor. But whatever it is, in some capacity, there's people that are working towards the same goal. I also kind of love how it's almost like this person has come out of this illusion. Here they are. And really, I'm only saying that because they're both brunette. you know? So we have this knight in shining armor down here. I mean, it could be a relationship, or I don't traditionally do like relationship readings. If it comes up, we talk about it, of course. But for me, it's like, everything starts with our star player. Everything starts with us. Any relationship we ever have in our lives is going to be some reflection of ourselves. And so that's why I don't even really kind of go into it, because it's like, you need to be the main focus before we start talking about relationships, right? But it's interesting because, this is a knight in shining armor here. This is somebody who is just kind of like stuck in this cycle. This doesn't even have to be a man. It can be, absolutely. It could just be a mentor. It could be just somebody who like knows about the thing that you are trying to do. Because even look at this Three of Pentacles. This guy looks like the guy that's on the Knight of Pentacles. This person looks like the woman that's in the Devil card. So I find it interesting that the cards came out in that way. I feel like there's a meaning to that. And then we have the Empress card. And that's, like I said when the cards came out, I'm like, that is so cool, because it's like these two people are working together to create something. And then we have the Empress, who is pregnant. The Empress is Taurus or Libra, but again, it's another Earth card. Also air, but we're talking Earth right now. And not to mention, the South Node just went into Libra. So you might even just want to see like where Libra is in your chart. I know we're talking human design, but that's included. Astrology is part of human design also. But it can be actual pregnancy, so if you have been trying to get pregnant, this would be a good omen for that. If you don't want to get pregnant, be careful for the next little while. But also, like in tarot, pregnancy, what's the word? I just lost it. Represents, hello, fertility and like opportunity. It's reproducing abundance. It's reproducing love and manifestation. The Empress is also the divine feminine. So it's about, being in flow. It's intuition, receiving even. So this is somebody who like, they're not going to chase. Like they're literally just standing here on the edge of this pond here. Like they're not going to chase anything. They're going to let that opportunity come to them. And then they're going to have the ability to reproduce that for other people, for themselves, whatever the case may be. And it's a result of this collaboration here, because these people were working together and they were able to, like, first of all, create something beautiful out of it, because this is very Venusian. And that's why it has ties to Taurus and Libra, because Venus rules over Taurus and Libra. I think that's beautiful. And I think that's so effing cool how these four cards, my mind is a bit blown right now. This could have even been, something that has been taking a lot of your time and attention. And, if this is a different person, it feels like to them that it's been going on for a long time. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, like, when are they going to have some time and attention for me type of thing? And then there's this coming together here. And then, this Empress card. I'm just obsessed with that. And like I said, it does not have to be romantic. It can be business. It could be friendship. It could be, whatever. Like I said, it could even be a mentor. It could be finding the therapist that you relate to or feel connected to, or teacher, right? You get the point. So then we have the Sun card, which is Leo. It's also interesting that Venus is retrograde in Leo right now. So you might even want to look at where Leo is. The Sun is in Leo right now also. So again, I feel like there is a reason for this. And, with Venus being in retrograde and whatever house Leo is for you, then it's giving you like an opportunity to revisit your whatever properties of that house it is for you. So like for me, Leo is my second house, and that has to do with worth, material things, income. So, those are the things that are being brought up for me. And they are, I can tell you. So, the Sun is everything good. It's joy, it's bliss, it's life force energy also, because, we wouldn't even exist if it weren't for the Sun. Being at the distance that the Sun is at, right? It's revitalizing. This could even just be saying that, you could spend a little bit more time in nature, or even just get a bit more vitamin D in if that's accessible to you. But it is like good stuff. And oh my goodness, I know this figure is blonde, which is different than the figure on the 3 other cards, but there's this child here. So we go from the Empress who is pregnant to this woman who is holding their child now. And look at how abundant it is around them. We have butterflies, which signify transformation, change. It's literally metamorphizing from one thing into a completely different thing. This is definitely like stop and smell the roses type of thing too, even those are sunflowers. And I'm sure sunflowers have a meaning to them, or like a medicinal property. So if you feel called to, you could look that up. We have the butterflies here in the Empress card too. And that's not to say like a brunette can't be blonde, right? I mean, this could be the same person, of course. But it is just really interesting to me. And also, I can't even think of another card where there is a baby on it. So that could be why it came out in the way that it did. I think that is so effing cool. I can't tell you the last time I did a reading like this. So thank you for allowing me to be involved in this, because I just kind of feel like there's this progression thing that's happening. It's like literally the whole story is just like being laid out here. And then we end with a Death card. Talk about transformation. There's some more butterflies here. Death is more about transformation or about rebirth than it is about death, because I always say, anytime the Death card comes out, I always say the phrase, new beginnings disguise themselves as endings. So whatever the situation is that you are going through, there is a part of you that you are laying to rest. It could even just be, because I always feel, and I've said this, you may have heard me say it at some point, if we're ever talking about inner child, that the only way to truly grow up is to heal your inner child. Otherwise, we're all just adults that are making decisions from a wounded kid, our wounded kid, right? That's why a lot of grown-ups don't seem grown up, because they're acting like children, and they are expressing themselves as that wounded kid because they're being triggered constantly, right? So when you go through and you do a lot of inner child healing, it does just naturally make you grow up, because you heal those parts of yourself. You love and you have compassion and empathy for those parts of yourself, to where, the adult you can now act in their full expression of adult, or even just more in their adult expression. right? So that's why I'm just kind of getting this feeling of like there is something that you are laying to rest, whether that's a behavior pattern, a thought pattern. This is Scorpio, so it's a water card. It has to do with our feelings. And, the purpose of that is so that you can be rebirthed. Like I was just saying, you can be more in your authentic expression, not being held back by something that is controlling you from your past. We have the Page of Wands. It's interesting because the wands are about action. It's the motivation behind the actions that we take. It's creativity, passion. It's fire also. So, usually the Page of Wands is like enthusiastic, like ready to go, adventurous, wanting to try something new. And this one, they're like chilling under this tree. Their dragon is taking a nap, playing their flute. So it's like, this almost really kind of feels hermity, but it's also productive. It's like honing in on your craft and also just doing something that you enjoy doing. And then we have the Queen of Wands. I see the queens as being like when we embody the energy of the suit, like we have to recognize it within ourselves before we can share it with other people, which is when we get into that king energy. But this is somebody who is confident. This is somebody who is showing up. Their actions are based on their authenticity, what is true for them. This is somebody who expresses their creativity, who acts on their passions. So I love that we go from the page right to the queen, because there is this progression that's happening. The 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment. This is getting something that you wanted in exactly the way that you wanted it to. You made a wish, it came true. Also, I just kind of got this message about being open to how you receive it. Don't expect it to come in a certain way. Just, put the wish out there and then just leave it alone. We have the Star card, which is Aquarius. This is faith. It's hope. I see the star as being the space between the 5D, where we manifest, and the 3D, where we want to manifest the thing. So it's like that space right in between and trying to pull that manifestation down. We have the moon, which is, everything has been yet to be revealed. There's surprises that are coming. So again, right? Like leaving room for the thing to come in as it's meant to. 2 of Swords, the Chariot, the World. Like, this is all really good stuff. And again, thank you for allowing me to be part of it. I'm going to leave it there. I will talk to you soon. Bye.